The five-tool player, the player that can do it all. Hit for contact, hit for power, play tremendous defense, have an incredible arm, and run the bases with incredible speed. Baseball is trending in a more athletic direction, and I think we are going to see more five-tool players break out on the scene in 2024. So let's take a look at who baseball's true five-tool talents are. Let's go. Of course, if you think I have missed anybody off this list, make sure you comment down below. There are a lot of players with 4 true talents, but let's see if we can hit on everyone with 5 true talents. And we talk about 5 true talents, we need a definition. So I looked at this, you had to have at least league average batting average for the contact. For power, you had to have at least league average slugging percentage. To be considered a fast runner, you need to have at least 10 stolen bases. For defense, you need to have your outs above average or defensive runs saved in the positive values. And to finish it off with arm strength, you had to have an arm strength of at least 86 miles per hour. Let's get it going with Bobby Whit Jr., the Kansas City Royals. In my mind, the best example of a five-tool player across Major League Baseball at this time. Last year's numbers, 276 average, 495 slug, went off with 49 stolen bases, a plus 14 outs above average, and of course he has the arm strength playing shortstop, one of the elite five-tool players in baseball, and I expect him to continue to trend even better this year in 2024. How about Michael Harris II of the Atlanta Braves, a center fielder with all kinds of talent as well. 293 average, 477 slug, got the 20 stolen bases, 7 outs above average last year. Also 2 defensive runs saved. You know he has the arm strength. All kinds of talent with Michael Harris, and I expect him to trend even better in the coming years. Baltimore Orioles third baseman slash shortstop slash incredible talent Gunnar Henderson. You know he's going to be on this list for a long, long time. He has the average. He has the slug. Speed might not be all the way up there, but he did hit the 10 stolen base thresh mark in 2023. I think he's going to expand on that number in 2024. He has an incredible arm. The defense is improving every single year. He's already showing a better defensive ability this year from the shortstop position, which is his natural position. So expect even bigger things from Gunnar Henderson moving forward as a true five-tool talent. How about the return of Cody Bellinger in 2023, showing he is a true five-tool talent? The former MVP has flashed those talents for a few years. Of course, he had those few down years as well. The batting average went off. The slugging percentage is out of this world, over 500, 20 stolen bases. You know he can play incredible defense. I think he gets hurt a little bit. His defense in center field isn't top-notch, but he's definitely a solid defender there. And when you put him in the corner outfield or at first base, he absolutely excels. And he's one of the few guys who plays some first base who really shows off that arm talent because he's able to play some outfield. And an arm talent coming in at 90.5 miles per hour, that is unheard of for a guy who also plays first base. Cody Bellinger, without a question, 5 tools. This player may be hurt, and that's really unfortunate this time because he's a sneaky five-tool guy who broke out for the Cincinnati Reds, and that's shortstop Matt McLain. Look at that average, 290 average. He had a 507 slug, still had 14 stolen bases, had 4 defensive runs saved, and the number that I'm a little surprised by is his arm strength. He hit the threshold, 86.3 miles per hour. That is in the top 50% of baseball, which is very impressive for a guy that I didn't know a lot about in terms of arm talent and defensive ability, but Matt McLain certainly has it all, and the Reds are really hurting right now, missing his presence, and I look for him to really provide a shot in the arm for the Reds later in 2024 when he is fully healthy. Here is the biggest shock of this list. Yes, Josh Naylor, Cleveland Guardians. He has the average, 308 average. You know he has the power, 489 slug. The incredible ability is Josh Naylor had 10 stolen bases to hit this threshold. Is he the absolute fastest guy in terms of sprint speed? No, he's a bigger guy. But bigger guys can have all 5 tools, and the ability to really pick his spots and find stolen bases is very important in the game today as well to get that extra base. And 5 outs above average, playing primarily first base, and he shows off some arm talent as well at 85 miles per hour. Yes, some of you are going to say, no, Josh Naylor's not a 5-tool guy. But when you really start to break it down, he hits a lot of thresholds of those 5-tool talent players. So I think you have to admit, Josh Naylor is a sneaky good 5-tool player. He's really struggling in 2024, but Nolan Jones really broke on the scene last year and asserted himself as a five-tool player to look at for future years. Hopefully he can get back in the swing of things this season for the Rockies. He had the average. You know when playing in Coors Field, he's going to have the slug. 20 stolen bases from a guy as tall as Nolan Jones, as big as Nolan Jones is very impressive. 9 defensive runs saved. That is his calling card. He is a tremendous defender with one of the absolute best arms in all of baseball, clocking in at 98.9 miles per hour. That is absolutely unheard of in today's game. So Nolan Jones, hopefully he can get back to this form because he really is a five-tool talent. I know I've been tough on him this year. I know he doesn't play much defense outside when he's pitching, so none this year. But Shohei Otani is without question a five-tool player. Average, power, speed. We've seen all of that. The question is defense. He did come in at 2 defensive runs saved in 2023 as a pitcher, so he is able to field his position quite well. Arm strength is hard to measure, but given that he throws over 95 from the mound, yeah, without question, he has the arm talent. The guy can both hit and pitch. I mean, isn't that a lock for five-tool player? And Shohei Otani, we know, does it all. And his incredible offensive numbers are only blossoming this year because he does not have to focus at all on pitching and just getting healthy for next year. How about Shohei's teammate, maybe the best player at the start of 2024 in Major League Baseball? Mookie Betts is absolutely dynamic. 307 average, 579 slug last year, 14 stolen bases, which I think is an area that Mookie would like to build upon. But not only is he a tremendous base stealer, he's a tremendous base runner. So he really hits his threshold in terms of speed in my eyes. He may not be the fastest guy on the field, but he definitely knows how to pick his spots and be a tremendous base runner. 3 defensive runs saved. Let's see what he can do at shortstop this year. I think he'll probably be around league average, probably in the positives in one of outs above average or defensive run saves. So he's definitely a five-tool talent there. And the ability to play all over the diamond is very impressive. The arm strength, I questioned, but did come out at 88.1 miles per hour. So he has the ability to play that right field position with the strong arm. He has the ability to play shortstop with the strong arm. So Mookie Betts, without question, 5 tools. The Dodgers is just loaded with guys that have five-tool talents, and James Outman was a sneaky one. The rookie in 2023 has really struggled at the start of 2024. Hopefully he can round back into form for the Dodgers and show these five-tool talents. The 248 average was right on the cusp of contact ability, so he's kind of on that edge of five tools. He has the slug, he has the speed, his defense is very, very good, 8 outs above average, and he has that very strong arm playing center field. He can play a corner as well. So the question with James Outman, to be a five-tool player, can he have that contact ability and have a high enough batting average and really make solid contact and avoid the swing and miss? He did it in 2023. Thus far in 2024, he's struggled. So hopefully he can get back to these five-tool talents for the Dodgers in center field. Do you like Jazz? How about Jazz Chisum Jr.? Yes, Jazz has gotten a lot of hate the last few years because he hasn't always been healthy. But he did put up some pretty solid numbers in 2023 and shows that he is in fact a five-tool talent. 250 average, 457 slug, 22 stolen bases from a guy that was hurt. So he has the ability to steal probably at least 30 bases. 4 outs above average. Playing a new position in center field is very, very good, given that he came up as a second baseman. The 89.2 mile per hour arm is very, very good as well. So Jazz Chisum has shown the ability to play center field at a high level. Incredible speed. It's all about the bat and staying healthy for Jazz. But yes, he is definitely one of these blossoming players in terms of five tools in Major League Baseball. He just needs the ability to do it across a full 162 to really cement his place. You knew we had to have a caveman on this list. How about the Philadelphia Phillies outfielder Brandon Marsh? 277 average, 458 slug. He hit 10 stolen bases, 7 outs above average. Moving to left field from center really eased that burden for him. He's got the arm, showed it off in center field, now in the corner and left at 88.7 miles per hour. I think Brandon Marsh took a huge step forward for the Phillies and really has found his game in Philadelphia after having a few struggles in Anaheim. So I really look for Brandon Marsh to continue to take steps forward. He's shown a little bit more against left-handed pitching as well, starting to become a little bit more of an everyday player rather than the platoon guy, but he really shows those five tools and is a tremendous defender for the Phillies in the outfield. If you're going to talk about the Phillies, you got to talk about Bryce Harper. There's no question Bryce is a five-tool talent. He's shown it with the average. He's shown it with the power. He's shown it by winning multiple MVP awards. He had 11 stolen bases last season, and given that he only played part of the year, I think that's a huge number for Bryce. He actually is a guy who probably could steal 20 bases. 3 outs above average in the past. This is more looking at his outfield numbers. The infield numbers at first base were a little misleading from last year because of the lack of time, but he has shown the defensive ability in the outfield before, and I think early on in 2024, he's really shown the ability to play a solid first base, and he has the arm strength. We know it from the outfield, so Bryce is rounding into one of the true talents at first base as a five-tool player that you don't get a lot at first base, so I think that's a big bonus for the Phillies. A guy who's rebounding in a big way so far in 2024 is Fernando Tatis Jr., and he is without question a five-tool player. 257 average, 449 slug in a down year in 2023. He had 29 stolen bases. This is a guy who probably could reach 40. 29 defensive runs saved in his first year in the outfield. That is incredible. Shows off that arm in right field, 96.6 miles per hour. I think the Padres have made a really good decision moving Tatis out to right field. It just shows his athletic ability so much more, especially when you have a guy like Ha-Seong Kim who can play shortstop at such a high level. So I think Tatis is definitely established himself as one of the premier five-tool players in Major League Baseball, especially if he can really bounce back with an even bigger year with the bat. My pick this year for AL MVP has struggled at the start of the season, but J-Rod is without question a five-tool talent. Julio Rodriguez last year in his second season, 275 average, 485 slug, 37 stolen bases. Remember, he had a 30-30 season for the Mariners last year. 12 outs above average, plays a very, very good center field, and a 91.6 mile per hour arm. J-Rod has established himself already. Just like Bobby Whit Jr., just like Mookie Betts, he is one of the premier five-tool players in Major League Baseball, and it is a very elite company to be in this type of prestige. We round out this list with a few more guys that were real surprises to me to make this list, but Lars Nordberg has really established himself as a quality player in Major League Baseball, provided he can stay healthy. He has yet to do that in 2024, and he didn't have a full season in 23 either, but the numbers suggest that he is definitely going to be a blossoming five-tool player. 261 average, 418 slug was at the bare minimum of league average, but he looks to establish himself more with the power as he moves through his career. 11 stolen bases, 3 outs above average from the outfield, and an 89.1 mile per hour arm shows that Lars Nordberg is on that cusp of really breaking out of one of the elite talents in Major League Baseball, and the Cardinals really miss him so far in 24. Another guy who's yet to step on the field in 2024, and that's Josh Lowe, the outfielder for the Tampa Bay Rays, and it has really hurt the Rays in their offensive abilities. 292 average, 500 slug. He had 32 stolen bases. Who out there had Josh Lowe stealing 32 bases last year? I certainly didn't. 6 defensive runs saved. His arm is slightly above the league average, 86.6 miles per hour to qualify for this list, but it definitely shows he is able to cover a lot of ground in the outfield. Solid enough arm, but the speed and the ability to hit for power is what makes Josh Lowe so talented and has really hurt the Rays, and they've missed him in the outfield this season. And the surprises keep on coming. How about Leody Taveras with the world champion Texas Rangers? He had a 266 average, 421 slug, which might be a little low, but it's still above league average. 14 stolen bases. You know he's a premier defender in the outfield. 7 outs above average, and a 92.1 mile per hour arm. Not every five-tool player needs to excel at all five tools, but you can be very, very good and still be a five-tool talent, and Leody Taveras is one of these best examples. He can affect the game in so many different ways, just like every player on this list can, and it really helps their team and have a real cornerstone at each position, and Leody Taveras really holds down center field for the Texas Rangers. Just like Kevin Kiermaier does for the Toronto Blue Jays. Yes, Kevin Kiermaier is a five-tool player based on our definition, and yes, last year may have been his best season in a long, long time, but 265 average, .419 slug. He doesn't have a tremendous amount of power, but it was above league average last season. You know the speed is there, 14 stolen bases and 13 outs above average. He really uses that speed very well defensively with an incredible arm, 92.8 miles per hour. He plays that premier center field position. He is still probably one of, if not the best center fielders defensively in all of baseball. And he showed with the bat last year there is still some potential in that bat later in his career. So Kevin Kiermaier, yes, he may not always be the hitter who can show off the 5-tool talent, and I certainly hope as a Blue Jay fan he can continue to produce these kind of numbers, even though he's had a very slow start to the year. He's just been placed on the injured list here in 2024, but I expect him to come back with a vengeance and show those 5-tool talents for the Toronto Blue Jays. The last guy of our 25-tool players is Lane Thomas, the Washington Nationals, who really broke out last season. He absolutely destroyed left-handed pitching, which really helped these numbers. 268 average, 468 slug. He showed it with the bat. 20 stolen bases, I think, is sneaky speed from Lane Thomas. He had 1 defensive run saved. He's probably the weakest defender on this list, and a 93.4 mile per hour throwing arm. Definitely a solid corner outfielder, playing a lot of right field. The arm strength is there without question. The defense could use maybe a little bump up, but there is a ton of talent in Lane Thomas and makes him one of the blossoming 5-tool players in Major League Baseball. Like I said earlier, if you think I've missed anyone, make sure you comment down below. There are all kinds of talented players out there that really hit the 4 true talents, but are missing that 5th. Ronald Acuna Jr. is a perfect example. His defense is atrocious at times in right field. Corbin Carroll's another one. He just doesn't have that same type of arm strength. So it doesn't mean that being a 4-tool player does make you any lesser of a player. Some of the best in baseball are not 5-tool players. And as we saw, there's some guys that are really surprising on this 5-tool list. So make sure you comment down below who you think I've missed and who is a 5-tool player and looking to break out again in 2024. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of the video here on 3 Up, 3 Down. I appreciate everyone's support. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're making the push for 500 subscribers. The goal is to get there by the All-Star game. So make sure you are subscribed for all your baseball content right here on 3 Up, 3 Down. As always, go check out some of my previous videos. We're having some fun doing some out-of-the-park baseball videos with the expansion franchise, the Saskatoon Berries. If you're into that kind of stuff, make sure you go check that out. As well, I looked at some StatCast darlings early on the season. Make sure you go check that out if you're into that kind of content. And until next time, take care, everyone.